Okay, hello, good afternoon. Can you guys hear me? Can you see my screen?
Good afternoon, sir.
And sige, so we will continue our discussion with module 6, no? So we stop at the strings. So yung una natin discuss before is the functions, no? So for now, we will proceed with the strings. And this is related with your activity exercise, no? 4.2. Yung 4.1 nyo is I think your exercise 4 is already posted sa Neo LMS. Exercise 4.1, refer ka mo sa functions. And then sa exercise 4.2, dito tayo sa string, which will be discussed today. Okay. So let's take a look what is a string. Ayan. So we all know that string is a type of a function that have a value of a character. Diba? Well, yung int naman or yung integer, numbers lang siya. And then a string, you can only determine that is a string type when that letters or character is enclosed with quotation, double quotation or single quotation. Yan. So a string can be a sequence or is a sequence of characters. So when you say sequence of characters, pasunod siya. So you can access the characters one at a time with the bracket operator. So for example, we have here, we have a variable name. Yung pangalan ng variable name natin is fruit. Ayan, siya, fruit. And then meron siyang value na string or character that is banana. Ayan. Then on the second statement, we have here the letter na variable. Variable name natin letter, which is a value of fruit. And then it has an enclosed number here inside. So ano to? So the second statement extracts the character at index position 1. So yung nasa loob nito, ito yung tinatawag nating index. So the expression in brackets is called an index. And the index indicates which character in the sequence you want. Okay, so for example, we have here 1. So obviously, kung sa mga first time user, let's say sa mga first time nga naka-encounter siguro ang sa inyong panumduman, yung 1 dito is a letter B. Okay? Letter B. Kasi 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yan. But it's not, no? Sa Python, the index is an offset from the beginning of the string. And yung offset natin ng first letter is 0, not 1. Okay, so nagsa-start tayo mag-index ng character from 0. Okay, so meaning hindi siya 1 dito, but instead 0 siya. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's why, pag print natin yung letter na to, yung variable na to, yung value niya is hindi yung A. Hindi yung B, I mean. Tama ba? Hindi B, kundi A. Kasi nag-start tayo from 0. Hindi siya nag-start from 1. So yung value ng variable nito is letter A. And so dito siya nakuha sa second character, 0, 1. Yan. Then if we try to get the statement again using the index as 0, then obviously we can get the first letter of the character. And so B is the 0th letter, or what you call the 0th of banana, and A is the first letter or the one, and the N is the second or the tooth letter, and so on. So it depends na kung ano nga what kind of characters or what kind of string. So in our example, we just use the word banana. Okay, banana. So how about your name? Let's say you want to extract the second character, second letter of your name. So try to experiment with that now using these examples. And so you can use any expression, including variables and operators, as an index. So meaning you can just put the addition, the subtraction na operator. But the value of the index has to be an integer. Take note lang. It has to be an integer. So hindi ka pwedeng maglagay ng float dyan or yung mga decimal, may mga decimal place tayo dyan. So hindi pwede yan. So otherwise, you will get an error. Yan. So string indices or string index must be integer. Whole number siya dapat. Okay? So ito yung representation natin ng character and then yung index niya. So we have 0, 1 for A, 2 for N, 3 for A, 4 for N, and so on. Yan. So naka-sequence siya from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How about pag may space? Pag may space, another index yan. So 6 yan yung space dyan. Then for another character, you have 7 and then you have 8. Pag may space, included yung index natin dyan. Okay? Yung pagbilang. So getting the length of a string using len. Yan. So meron tayong additional function which is len. So the len function is a built-in function that returns the number of characters in a string. For example, we have here banana. So len, fruit. So eto, isipon niya na kung pila characters ang ara sa string word. Yan. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So notice, hindi siya nag-start sa 0. So mag-start lang kita sa 0 kung i-index natin siya. Pero with the use of len function, it counts from 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so to get the last letter of a string, you might be tempted to try something like this. Ayan. So we have the length that is equal to the length of fruit. Ito. And then yung last is equals to fruit length. So ito mag-error to. Okay, because out of range siya. So anong gagawin natin dito? Hindi mo siya magagamit. It's because yung ginamitan natin siya ng index, di ba? Pag nag-bracket tayo kasama yung variable, means nag-index tayo. So yung index nitong length na to, which is len, len fruit, di ba? 6 to. Di ba? 6. Pero pag kukunin mo yung last position or last number or last position ng letter dito, it's just hindi siya 6. Okay, sobra siya. Kasi pag nag-index tayo, 0 siya nagsa-start. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hindi siya 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's why dito, nag-error tayo. So yung anong gagawin natin dito? So yung gagawin natin dito is you need to subtract 1 from length. Okay? Kasi yung length dito, gumamit tayo ng len function which is binilang yan yung buong character. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then, sa last statement mo, kinukuha mo yung yung value ng index, kung nakailang index ba yung last character. So dito magma-1 tayo kasi hindi tayo nag-start from 1 but instead we start from 0. So here we correct it. Ito na yung tamang code. So fruit, then yung length natin -1. Yan. So -1 yan. So obviously yung last na character that has a value of, or that has an indexed value of 6 to, yung length, total length natin is 6 minus 1, kasi ito yung index natin, is A. So meaning, nag-count na siya from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So alternatively, you can use the negative indices, which count backwards from the end of the string. So the expression fruit -1, so obviously this yields the last letter. Or fruit -2. So this is the second to the last. So instead of getting the length -1, you can just use -1 para makuha mo yung buong ito yung pinakadulo na. Yan, pinakadulo. So you can use -1. And so on. Okay. So meron tayong traversal na tinatawag. So traversal through a string with a loop. So ano naman tong traversal? Traversal through a string with a loop. So a lot of computations involve processing a string one character at a time. So often they start at the beginning, or sometimes sa tunga-tunga siya start. Select each character in turn. Do something, continue until the end. So this pattern is what we call traversal. So one way to write a traversal is with a while loop. So gumagamit tayo ng while loop, okay, or while na command. So ito isa sa mga reserved word ni Python. So hindi mo to pwedeng gamitin na variable. Okay? Isa to sa mga reserved word. Yan. So again, we have here example naman natin that is fruit, that is may value siya na banana. Yung variable natin na fruit. So say we have an index. So yung index natin is obviously 0 siya. So magsa-start tayo from 0. So while index, say 0 is less than the length, so meaning less than siya sa 6, no? Or 5, less than 5 siya, that is 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So pag nag-less than siya sa length, oh no, 6 pala to kasi length function. So basi ma-confuse man kamo ha. Yung length function starts from 1. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yan. So yung index natin na by value na 0, so this is the initial value. If less than siya, while the index is less than the length value of fruit, which is 6, no? So meaning yung ano nito, representation nito, just like habang yung index natin that is 0 is less than yung length ng fruit that is 6, di ba? So if 0 is less than 6, or yung value nito is less than 0, then we can just print, no? Or assign again a letter variable letter. So dito kukunin natin yung index. Okay, kukunin natin yung index. So yung initial value natin ng index is 0. And from this case, since this is true, di ba? So kung true siya, then it will proceed. It will proceed with this statement until magiging false siya. Okay? So while index is less than the length of this character, it will proceed with this statement. Pero pag hindi na, pag greater than na siya, then mag-stop na siya. Yan. And then here, we have a statement here, or we have a command here that it will print the letter. So anong letter na ipiprint niya dito? Ito yung index. Okay? So it's something that kakount niya yung letter which is 0. So from 1, then, and so on. So in this case, hindi siya nag-stop. Okay, hindi siya nag-stop because we added additional 1 here. So meaning from 0, Ito yung unang loop niya. First loop niya yung 0, which is B. Okay? And then nag-add siya ng 1. So meaning yung index na nito, plus 1 na to. Plus 1 na. And then maglo-loop ulit siya. So hahanapin niya naman yung letter dito na may index na 1. In this case, A. Ito na yung second niya. Second loop na to. And then, at the last part, magpa-plus 1 ulit siya. So, 2 na. Diba? Plus 1 ulit. And then, maglo-loop ulit siya. And so on until walang index na natira dito sa fruit, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lang. Ayan. So, meaning, nakailang loop siya. So, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Naka-6 na loop siya. Ayan. So this loop traverses the string and displays each letter on a line by itself. So the loop condition is index less than length fruit. So meaning when the index is equal to the length of the string, the condition is false and the body of the loop is not executed. So the last character accessed is the one with the index length fruit that's -1. Which is the last character of, or last character in the string. So sa atin, this code, no? Para mahampangan niya siya. Okay, medyo. And so, okay, for this case, or you can use the while. Ayan. Yung for naman na to, the same din sa while. So reserve word din to. Okay, you cannot use this as a variable. So in this case, no, yung ayan, so ito yung code natin, simple lang siya. So each time through the loop, the next character in the string is assigned to the variable character. So wala tayong value ng car, yung character mismo, but instead, kinuha na niya sa fruit mismo. For car, so this is our variable name, in fruit. So meaning, for each character, so meaning, character mismo. Kung ano man yan. Okay, so sunod man na siya gihapon. Okay? So each time through the loop, the next character in the string is the variable car, and the loop continues until no characters are left. So it will only stop and pag naubos na yung character dito. So maglo-loop na yan. B, then A, then N, and so on. The next is strings. Strings like wait ha. Kasi rooms. I'm not sure. Hello? Can you guys see? Copy ba? Copy. Sige, sige. Kasi okay. So we have here the string slices, no? So a segment of a string is what we call a slice. And selecting a slice is similar to selecting a character. So somewhat the same lang siya, but instead we use a colon. So the colon here is used to slice or to separate. Yan, to separate. So this is from 0 to 5. So what it means here is it slices the character from 0 until 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So pag print natin siya, yung ipiprint niya lang is yung first 5 characters from 0 to 5 lang. Okay? So 0, hindi na to index, no? So this involves, so hindi na to naka-involve yung index. So not indexed. So meaning nagsa-start na tayo from 1. Tama ba? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hindi. 6 pa rin, no? Kasi pagdating dito, pag in-start natin kay Python, 6 to eh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minus 1 to. Na natin. Ayan, so we still use the index, no? So naka-index pa rin siya. Naka-index pa rin. So from here, we slice the two words, that is Monty and Python. So in order to slice the first word, so kukunin muna natin yung index niya. So from 0 to 5. Wait, try nga natin. I'm not sure if ano lang to, if typo lang. I will check. What if gagawin ko siyang 4 instead of 5? Okay, so mapuputol siya. Okay, mapuputol siya. So we have 0 to 5. Ayan. So yung first mo dito is kung anong index number siya. Okay, kung anong index number siya. So let's say we have here for the start, you have 0 here. For the second word, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's why 6 dito sa kabila. Okay, so it comes from the Ayan. Kaya dito. So because of that, Di ba ito yun? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dapat, di ba? So yung last na character, i-exclude to. So that just Monty. 5 lang. Ayan. So if you omit the first index before the colon, so the slice starts at the beginning of the string. If you omit naman the second index, then the slice goes to the end of the string. Ayan. So ito yung example natin. Let's say we have first index here, di ba? And then ito yung second index natin. So pag wala tayong index, automatically, i-omit niya yun. Or hindi niya dito sa taas. So, 8. 1, 2, 3. So wala na to. Wala na yan. Yung dulo wala na. Pag dito naman sa second index naman, if we omit this second index, it goes to the end. So, na lang natira. Yan. So 1, 2, 3 pa rin. Yan. So meaning it counts from the character. Okay, it counts the character. So you can just, you can try with other names or other characters or variables, no? And then you can try omitting. So later on sa inyo you will have, or you will use this one. Okay, you will use this one. Hindi lang. And how about this one? If the first index is greater than or equal to the second, so yung result ng string natin is empty. So it will result an empty string. So this is represented by 2 quotation marks. So it's either 2 quotation or single quotation, but I guess it's just a single quotation. And so it will be represented by 2 quotation mark. So ito. 2 quotation mark, meaning 2 ka single quotation. So an empty string contains no characters and has length 0. But other than that, it is the same as any other string. So the same ang gihapon sila. Yan. So tandaan nyo lang is pag nag-index ka mo, it starts from 0. Pag sa length, starts with 1. Yan. Pag nag-string slice ka mo, you can check. So you can still use the index 1. So 0 maghihapon ma-start, no? Pero pag in between, you can just count the characters and then kung sa diin ka ma-cut or ma-slice. Okay, so strings are immutable. What do you mean by immutable? So it is tempting to use the operator on the left side of an assignment with the intention of changing a character in a string. So let's say, for example, papalitan natin yung hello world ng letter J. Meaning papalitan natin ng Jello world. Yan, parang Jejemon lang. Yan. So here, we just assign the greeting here na 0. So meaning, greeting 0. So it just like gusto natin palitan yung naka-0 na index sa greetings, which is H ng J. Pero anong sabi ni Python? So it does not support an item assignment. Error agad. So the object in this case is the string and the item is the character you tried to assign. So for now, an object is the same thing as a value, but we will refine that definition later. And an item is one of the values in a sequence. So hindi pwedeng ganito. So what you need is kailangan mo siyang i-omit muna. So meaning mag-assign ka ng bagong variable. Tapos idadagdag mo tong J na to. So you cannot just replace. Okay, so mali to. Hindi pwede to. Okay, Python. Okay, so what you will do is just use another variable name na naka-omit yung H. Meaning yung bagong variable mo is hello world lang. Tapos i-add mo tong J. Ayan, like this one. So the reason for the error is that the strings are immutable, which means that you can't change an existing string. So the best you can do is create a new string that is a variation on the original. So here we have greeting, that is have a value this one. And then new greeting is just equal to J plus, eto, nag-index tayo, nag-character slice tayo. Nag-slice tayo dito. So meaning saan tayo nag-start? Inumit natin yung lahat, no? Inumit natin lahat. So meaning ito lang yung nawala, yung first character kasi 1 to. Okay? Then inad natin yung J. So J plus ito. So yung output mo pag print mo na tong bagong variable name mo, Jello world na. Kasi inumit natin yung first character. Wala na to. Yan. So this example concatenates a new first letter onto a slice of greeting. So it has no effect on the original string. So hindi natin dinalaw yung remaining string, but instead we just slice it. Yan. In-slice lang natin, then we use the concatenation. Concatenate natin, in-add natin yung variable na J. So hindi tayo nag-replace, but instead we add. Slice and add. Unlike dito na gusto mong i-replace na ganito, so malamang error talaga to. And so the same as looping and counting. So titingnan natin dito. So looping and counting, so the following program counts the number of times with a letter A appears in a string. And so obviously before you start or before you can start a count, no? So make sure that you have an initial value. For this case, gusto mo isipon kapag pila ng character or on how many times that this letter nga nagyan siya. So you should have a initial value which is 0. So ito naman yung normally na ginagamit na variable. Default value 0. Yan. Then with the use of for function, so for letter in word, meaning so for each letters in word, that is B-A-N-N-A, N-A-N-A. So if letter is equals to A, magka-count tayo. Count meaning 0 yung unang value natin plus 1. Then piprint niya yung count. So first loop ba natin? First loop may A ba dito? Wala. So 0. Loop, meron ba? Plus 1. Tapos ipiprint niya yung count, di ba? So nag-1 yan. Then another loop. N. May A ba? Wala. So remaining 1 lang. Second, third, fourth loop. May A ba? Meron. So plus 1 ulit. So 2 na. And so on. So this program demonstrates another pattern of computation, what we call a counter. But make sure lang pag nagamit ka ng counter, you should have, sabi ko nga, may initial value ka dapat na 0. Na variable mo. Okay? So the variable count is initialized to 0 and then incremented each time an A is found. So when the loop exits, count contains the result, which is the total number of A's. So meaning there are 3 letter A in this word. 1, 2, 3. Yan. Tatlo naman talaga. Yan. So Sa mga example natin dire, pwede pwede nyo ma-ilog. And then you can experiment kasi wala namang, you can just retry and retry until you can get the exact output. Okay? When writing a code, ganyan naman talaga. Okay? So it's just a matter of trial and error until you successfully got the right code. Yan. Yan, meron din tayong string comparison. So the comparison operators work on string. Okay. So let's say kino-compare niya yung word ba at yung fruit is the same na banana. So to see if two strings are equal. So meaning B ba yung naka-index na 0 sa kabilang variable and so on. And you got the right output. Yan, ito rin siya. So the comparison operators are useful. So let's okay, so okay. So it's i-alphabetize natin, no? Kung ano ba yung word na tinype mo, kung apple ba yan or banana or pineapple. Yan. So Python does not handle uppercase and lowercase letters the same way that people do. So all the uppercase letters come before all the lowercase letters. Okay, so for example, we have here, no? So nag-type tayo ng banana. So all right, bananas. Output niya. Then restart natin. How about pineapple? So yung output niya is your word pineapple comes before banana. Yan, so before banana. Then and so on. Yan. Okay, so sa comparison lang to sa comparison. Okay, so we have here attributes, no? Tinatawag nating attributes. So these are the string methods. So strings are an example of Python objects, and an object contains both data, so the actual string itself, and the methods, which are effectively functions that are built into the object and are available to any instance of the object. So Python has a function called dir, or this is just a dir function, no? Dir function lang siya. And then you have such attributes here. Ito yung attributes mo. Ayan. So Python has a function called dir which lists the methods available for an object. So the type function shows the type of an object, di ba? Pag trinay natin yung type na function, if you can still remember, it shows what type of object. So ito naman, yung dir function naman, it shows the available methods or what you call their attributes. For example, we have here, no? We have a variable here, staff, na may character siya na value. So what type of object is this? So it is a string character or string class, and it has an attribute or method or objects that can be used. So you can use the add, the class, the contains, the del atr, and so on. Ayan. So ito yung mga methods niya na pwede mong gamitin with the string. Ayan. You have your rstrip, split, title, translate, swap case, and so on. No? Ayan. Wait, I think meron yan sa ano nyo eh. Yan, sa exercise 4.2. So convert the string to uppercase. Ayan. So saan ba yan? Dito yan sa ito is upper. Magagamit nyo to later on sa exercises nyo. Ayan. So string methods. So while dir function lists the methods, you can use help to get some simple documentation on a method. So meron tayong link here na pwede nyong buksan wherein you can check the definitions, no, and uses of these string methods. So calling a method is similar to calling a function. It takes arguments and returns to a value. So the same ang gihapon siya, no? But the syntax is different. So we call a method by appending the method name to the variable name. So meaning, gagamit tayo ng period. So the same, ano, let's say sa math module, di ba, nag-math dot kita. Math dot then pi. So the same siya dire sa string method. So instead of the function syntax upper word, so we use the word dot upper. So before siya. For example, may word kita din na banana. So gusto natin siya nga i-uppercase tanan. So we can just create a new variable, new underscore word, and then may value siya na word.upper. So meaning, yung word na to is ko-convert niya sa uppercase. Ito yung ano natin, ito na yung method, the upper. Okay, ito na yung method. And then piprint niya yung new word na na-convert na siya, then output mo is ito na. So you can use this example sa inyong exercise 4.2. Exercise 4.2 letter B. You can use that one. Yan. So this form of dot notation specifies the name of the method upper and the name of the string to apply the method to, which is your word. So the empty parenthesis indicates that this method takes no argument. So wala tayong argument dito. Okay. So a method call is called an invocation. So ito parang yung starting niya, no? In this case, we would say that we are invoking upper on the word. Meaning, parang ginagamitan natin ng upper function yung word na to. Yung naka-invoke. Yung nauna. Yan. Okay. So for example, there is a string method named find. So, meron ba dito? Wala naman. Class contains. Ito pala, meron find. Yan, ito yung mga attributes natin, method natin eh. So may find tayo dito. Word is equals to banana, and then index is equals to word.find A. So hahanapin natin yung A dito sa word na to. Okay, find A dito. So obviously, since naka-sequence siya, pasunod siya, so 0, 1. So 1 yung ipiprint niya. Okay, 1 ipiprint niya. Yan. In this example, we invoke find on word and pass the letter we are looking for as a parameter. Ito na yung ano natin, ito na yung attribute natin. So meaning hinanap natin yung A dito mismo. So the find method can find substrings as well as characters. Let's say NA. So saan ba siya? Nag-start. 0, 1, 2. So ito. Yan. Okay, so one common task is to remove white spaces. So let's say space, tabs, new lines from the beginning and the end of the string using the strip method. So some methods such as starts with return Boolean values. So let's say we have here line, here we go. So if we strip this one, okay, so if we strip this line, notice that nawala na yung space dito. Okay. Okay, so it removes the white spaces. It's either tabs or new lines between this character, depende sa imo nga code. Yan. Then we have the starts with. For example, we have a nice day. Okay, so it's just a comparison lang, no? Or ano lang, parang truth table lang siya kung eto ba talaga yung start niya. So yung value niya is true. And then pag hindi naman, let's say small letter h, so mag-false siya. So sometimes we take a line and map it all lowercase before we do any checking using the lower method. So ito yung parang shortcut na. And in the last example, the method lower is called, and then we use to see if the resulting lowercase starts with letter 8. Ito. So as long as we are careful with the order, we can make multiple method calls in a single expression. So you have your line, then nag-start ba siya sa H, small letter H, so it falls. So meaning, we can still use the same method or another method that it can translate, no, sa gusto nimo. Let's say gusto mo siyang i-lowercase. So you can use the lower method in that line, and then output niya would be the lowercase na nga, have a nice day. And then using the two methods, so pwede ni siya himuon na parang multiple method yung yung tinawag mo. So line that lower, that starts with H. Pwede yan. So value niya na is true. Pero pag ito lang, tapos ipiprint mo siya or ito, magiging true na to. Magiging true na siya kasi kinonvert mo na siya into lower eh. Kinonvert mo na siya into lower, so magiging true na yan. But you can incorporate the two methods, no? Para hindi ka na maglagay ulit nito. So itugpon mo na lang sila, line that lower, and then ano yung ilo-lower mo? Ito. Ayan. Parang isugpon mo lang ang dua ka method. But okay, not all methods. Okay. Kaya nga meron dito nakalagay na should be careful. Okay. So you should be careful when using the order. Parang imong output still result into your gusto mong output. And for example, this one, gusto mo siyang i-lowercase. So here are some string methods. Some useful string methods na I think magagamit nyo sa exercises ninyo. With the variable s used to refer to any string. Okay, so let's say mo variable name is s. And so it refers to your variable name, yung s. So it's up to you kung anong gagamitin mong variable name. Okay. Then parsing, ito natin yung last. Parsing string. Okay, so often we want to look into a string and find a substring. For example, we were presented a series of lines formatted as follows. So let's say meron kang mga email addresses. Mga email addresses. Yeah? And we want to pull out only the second half of the address. So meaning, gusto mo lang kukunin yung host. Ito yung host eh. Ito yung email mo. So, then ito yung host. Kung saan ba yung email na yan. Then meron kang date and time, and meron kang year. Yan. So you can use, we can use the find method and the string slicing. So meaning, ano yung unang gagawin natin dito? Kukunin muna natin yung index. Gusto natin itong kunin, yung host. Okay? Let's say gusto mo itong kunin yung host. Ito lang. So kukunin mo to, magbibilang ka. So gusto mo ba magbilang? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So instead of that, instead na magbilang ka, you can use the method, the find method. Okay? Or the string methods. So ano ba yung mga methods na yan? So we have here. Yan. So we can use the data.find. Yan. Kukunin muna natin to. So nakailang index ba to? Or saang position ba yan? Saang index yan? Yan. So ito yung data natin. Then with the use of find na method. And we have a variable at position. So meaning, yung at sign na to naka-position sa 21. So you don't need to count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Basi malas tusihan ikaw. Isip, no? So ito na yung gagamitin mo. You can find position. So meaning naka-21. So number 21 index. Okay. And then, so yung last space. Position yung space. Okay. So ito 31. So utt.ac.za. Okay, ito yung host na gustong kukunin. So data, then yung at position natin plus 1. So 21 plus 1, so yung u na yan. And then yung second ano natin index would be, or second argument natin would be yung ito 31. Or if we can print now, obviously yung ipiprint niya lang is yung host na mismo, that is uct.ac.za. So we use a version of the find method which allows us to specify a position in the string where we want to find to start looking. So when we slice, we extract the characters from 1 beyond the at sign. Okay, that's why nag-add tayo ng plus 1. Okay, nag-plus 1 tayo. Through up to, but not including the space character. So 31 space, bakit hindi siya included? Kasi nga, di ba, as explained earlier, excluded yung last term pag nag-slice tayo. Okay? So dito yun eh. Di ba? Nag-slice tayo last before. Hindi siya included. Ito, excluding the last. So take note of that, ha? Excluding the last. And okay, I think that's the last. So we will discuss the text file by Monday. Hopefully, Monday. Okay? So discuss natin yung remaining topics on Monday. And since naka-post naman yung exercises niyo, you can start with working on with your exercise 4.1 and 4.2. 4.1 and 4.2. Okay, 4.1 and 4.2. So you still have 1 week to do that. Your deadline is on April 8 pa naman. Okay, sakto lang yan, matapos natin discuss by Monday. Then you will have your Wednesday and Friday to do that activity. The remaining activities or laboratory exercises. Yan. So questions, clarifications before we end our discussion. I will stop sharing now and stop recording.